advances to the Final Four.
Shout out Chillinois Basketball Podcast.
Shout out to Chillinois Podcast.
Shout out Chillinois Podcast.
Shout out Chillinois Basketball, man.
Welcome back to the Chillinois Basketball Podcast. We're talking about Illini basketball this time, and I know it's been about a week and a half since we've recorded anything on Illini basketball. I think we dropped the ball a little bit on that one, but we do have a lot to discuss in this episode. So we're back, and consequently, ANDREJ Stojakovic is also back. That's why I have my Pit Vipers on, so I could say he's back. But I kind of like the look of these, so I'm going to keep them on for a little bit. Anyways, we're going to start off with the hottest news off the press. ANDREJ Stojakovic did remove his name from the NBA draft. He will be returning for his senior season next season. And I think a lot of people had the Illini in their top 15 or top 10 rankings for next season, way too early, top 25s. But I think with the return of ANDREJ Stojakovic, Illinois becomes, at least at the bare minimum in my mind, a top 5 team in the country. And in his video where he talked about how he's coming back, he said this team is looking to win a national championship. They went to a Final Four last year. He believes in this roster. So, I mean, with Andre coming back, we can just talk about it right away. What are your expectations of this team now? Because obviously it does ascend them a little bit. I think people already had top 10 nationally at least, or top 15 nationally going into next season. But I think with a guy like ANDREJ Stojakovic returning, obviously we now know his vertical leap is extremely high from him testing the draft waters, but he'll have to work on that three-point shot, obviously. Um, I don't know if he's going to have the Terrence Shannon Jr. second season in Illinois type, like, not turnaround. It was just like a progression of his career. I'm not sure I see the bulldog that we saw in Terrence Shannon Jr. in ANDREJ Stojakovic, but nonetheless, this is obviously a very good thing for the Illini. When we talked in our last Illinois episode with Dion, he had me a little bit nervous. He had me fairly convinced that
Yeah,
ANDREJ
we got to talk
Stojakovic.
about that because Dion was like, he had me convinced, bro. I was like, shit, he's gone, dude.
I
But
mean, what Dion said was true. A lot of it was true. I don't think. I think ANDREJ Stojakovic is better off learning a three-point shot playing basketball every single day and for 12 to 14 hours a day in the NBA or in the G League as opposed to also having to take classes on campus and being a student. I think that point was probably pretty accurate. But nonetheless, kind of a scare, but I think this is ultimately what everybody thought was going to happen. He was just testing out the draft waters, getting some input for next season. A lot of players did remove their name yesterday as well, so this draft has been whittled down to just, I mean, if you're picking in the second round, you're just shooting darts at that point in the dark. Um, but let's talk about what this means for Illinois next season, because that's the biggest thing. Uh, First of all, is he a starter? I mean, he is in my mind, a starter, a talent wise at least. He's probably a top 3 talent on the team for next season. Um, Brad has shown a reluctance to really give a shit about whether or not a player is supposed to be the star player or not. So I think performance will ultimately determine whether or not he is a starter, but I think he will be a starter at the beginning of next season. He's not starting the offseason with an injury like he was last offseason. Um, but like I said in a previous episode, I think there's a potential where this could go very south, you know? Like he has a few bad games. Jake Davis gets plugged into the starting lineup, and we've got a very pouty ANDREJ Stojakovic on our bench. Um, so I could th those are all kind of my takes that I'm throwing out here. Ultimately, I think this is a very good thing though. So let me ask you 2 questions after I ranted there for a little bit. Where do you think this ascends Illinois to nationally in the polls? And then also, are you positive on this ANDREJ Stojakovic return? I know he's your favorite player in terms of looks, but in terms of basketball game and skill as well, how happy are you or how unhappy are you about him coming back to Illinois?
very happy. I think we all wanted him back. He was one of those guys that could they have gone to the portal and maybe gotten someone a little bit better? Possibly. But again, the locker room banter, they're all buddies. They all love each other. So we're all happy he's back. And he did wait until like the last possible second to withdraw from the draft. And there was a bunch of rumors going around saying he might have been injured in the combine, which is why he didn't, finish it off. Because I think he canceled some team tryouts or something like that, and that's what
I
Goodman
did
said.
read that. I didn't know it was because of injury though, or I
Well,
didn't hear
Goodman
anything
said
different.
that, so when Jeff Goodman says something, you never know 100% if it's true, but it would make sense if he tweaked his ankle or something like that, and they're like, you know what, just don't worry about it, go back to college. We were going to tell you to do that anyway. So it doesn't surprise me too much. Although like you said, there was a point in time where we were all convinced he was going to the draft. So it's nice that he ultimately decides to come back. I think Illinois is going to pay him a bag, and I think that they're going to start him, at least for the first half of the season, similar to what they did last year. I think you're going to see Andre start off probably Jake Davis sixth man, and then ultimately, if Brad decides halfway through the year that Andre's just not clicking with this team, with this starting lineup, I'm sure he'll switch him. But I do think Andre's going to vibe more with this offense or this starting lineup than last year, just offensively. I don't know about defensively, how good Quentin Coleman is or how good Stefan Vox is. He's supposedly pretty bad. But I think offensively, you're getting rid of Boswell. That's a non-shooter. You can't really start two non-shooters together. So that was a big problem that last year's team had. So getting rid of Boswell, replacing him with Vox, I think is really going to allow Stojakovic to create more plays and not have to worry about shooting the ball, really. I mean, he's going to want to shoot the ball because he wants to get better so they can get drafted, but he's not going to have to shoot the ball if he doesn't want to. So if it's not landing for him, then he doesn't have to rely on it. But I think it's a great, Andre is one of those guys where first team all looks. I mean, I was thinking about it earlier. We're probably the best looking team in college basketball. I mean, I don't really know. I got to get a good look at Stefan Vox up close, to be honest, before I make that bold claim. But I'd say preseason, just out of the gate, Mirkovic looks kind of chiseled. Obviously, Stojakovic is Stojakovic. So we don't need to dive too deep into that because we got a 2 hour long video coming out tomorrow about that exact topic. So
The
just stay
all
tuned for
mod team.
no, but yeah, in all seriousness, we're happy for Andre. We're happy he's back. I think his dad probably told him to come back. He's like, you know what? He had a good time. I think his dad had a fun time at the games, to be honest. At first he kind of looks like he doesn't want to be there, but then by the end, those close competitive tournament games, he was getting into it at the end. He was getting, he was fist pumping, and even just a fist pump from him is saying something. So I think everybody wanted him back. He wanted to come back. He likes the fan base. It's just a perfect fit. And I knew he wasn't going to enter the transfer portal, that's for sure. And quite frankly, people are saying, oh, next year's draft, he might not get drafted, but I think he will. Even if he doesn't get drafted, he'll make a G League team and could very well make a
I
roster.
mean,
So
I think the draft next year is going to be even more whittled down compared to I mean, people were saying this is the most loaded draft class and whatever. But I mean, Dion made a good point in the last episode too. With everybody coming back to college, if you look at the end of the draft now, like I said before, you're just shooting darts in the dark. Like they're just picking players like who have played 4 years of college basketball already, had some pretty good stats, hoping they can be a role player on your team. So, I mean, if he was already going to go in the second round this year, I think he'll definitely go in the second round next year. The hope is he can probably, his hope and his father's hope probably by coming back to Illinois is that he can ascend himself into the first round. Now, I'm also very happy he's coming back. I like Andrei Stojakovic. My first thought with him was after learning that his vertical leap was 41 and a half inches or whatever it was, please finish all your highlight reel dunks next season. Don't miss like 60% of them like you did. Um,
maybe that's how he got hurt. Maybe he was just trying to jump as high as he possibly could and he came down funny.
I mean, I hope not. I hope he's not hurt at all because we don't want another off season of him dealing with an injury. That was kind of the issue last year where he was like, is he going to play against Texas Tech in the first 4 games or whatever? And then he did. So, anyways, my other point though, my other thought was besides I'm happy he's back was just that he needs to stay locked in all season because if he has these dips where like he's not playing very well or if he gets too high on himself at certain points or he gets too hard on himself at certain points when the shots aren't falling. I heard a stat earlier where he only made 9 threes this Big Ten season, um, which I guess doesn't necessarily surprise me, but it felt like he shot it a bit more than that. So I just have this fear that maybe next season he's like, I have to elevate myself. I have to be the star player of this team. And I could see that going very, very poorly because we've seen in past seasons with Yakachonis. I don't know. I made some comment about how he got in a fight with Tommy on the last episode. It kind of took off. I don't know where I heard that rumor. I couldn't tell you where I heard that rumor. I didn't make it up myself, but it could have been somebody who has no idea about anything with Illinois basketball. So I'm not saying it's substantial. I'm just saying I could see, like in the past, Illinois has had drama issues
Can we
between.
keep making up rumors and just pretending that we heard them somewhere?
No, I do know one that's actually factual. When Matthew Mayer said that he overdosed on whatever monster, like this team has had drama in the past, and then Morez Johnson, and so, anyways, I hope it doesn't become that next
That's
season.
not drama. Okay, Matthew Meyer overdosing on Monster is not drama. He's just stupid.
I mean, that's just a sign of a poorly coached
That's
team.
a
Like,
cry for help.
yeah, I guess so. But nonetheless, that was my other thought was just like I hope to gosh the rails don't fall off the train on this one because there is so much hype, and when you have a team with
Hope the
so,
rails don't fall off the train, or you
I hope
hope
the
the
train
train
doesn't fall
doesn't
off
fall
the
off the
rails.
rails.
I don't know, man. I'm just
You got it. No, the train is
no.
on the rails.
The
That's how
train is
it
on the
is.
rails, and I'm hoping it doesn't fall off the rails. It falls off the rails when it's engineered by Purdue students because they suck. But anyways, ultimately, I'm very happy he's back. But I just there is a lot of hype around this team now, and sometimes when a team has too much hype around it, and they buy into their own hype, they can get too high on themselves. And I don't think this group of students, this group of athletes next year will get too high on themselves. I think Brad's a good enough coach where he's going to manage all of that. But there's some personalities in this group next year. You got Mirkovic, who's probably going to be a draft pick next season. You got Tomislav Ivisic, who Dion said he made a good point. He started last season by saying, "Ain't no way I'm playing college basketball for a fourth year," and now he's playing college basketball for a fourth year. You got Jake Davis, who talks like he's Bosnian now. So everybody on this team is a character, and it could be really, really good, or it could be a crazy episode of Love Island, like I've seen in the past, and it could fall off the tracks. The train could fall off the tracks. Um,
What if Mirkovic mid-season redshirts and just decides to DJ full time?
that could go in our hot takes episode if we ever make one for Illinois.
DJ Smirk's been blowing up. It wouldn't surprise me if he's just like,
I hope he's at Lollapalooza next season because I'll be at Lollapalooza, and so I hope he's at Lollapalooza.
yeah,
Um,
it could be 10 years from now and he'd be headlining and you'd be front row. Whoop, whoop.
I would 100% buy a ticket to any festival that had DJ Smirk at it. But anyways, ultimately, my final thought on Andre is I'm glad he's back. He was a very pivotal part of the team, especially in their Final Four run. I just think Brad needs to be able to manage all the personalities and make sure they're flowing together. They all need to be on one wavelength together. They can't all be separate. But I mean, the last season was pretty similar. It's not like they're unless Stefan Vox is some like locker room cancer, which I don't think we've heard about in the past. I don't see that happening, but it will be interesting as the season goes along, and we'll see if there's any storylines that come from it. Another storyline that did happen since the last episode we've made, Brad Underwood did get a contract extension. I think that was probably expected, especially after a Final Four, the first Final Four in 20 years for the Illini. The deal will run through 2032, so that's 6 more seasons that will have Brad Underwood, and it could be extended depending on performance all the way through 2036. So that's potentially 10 more seasons of Brad Underwood. I know in some comments after he was saying like, why would I go anywhere else? Like I have the dream job. He said that after the Final Four run. So he's kind of just retelling that story over and over again. He doesn't want to go anywhere else. This certainly makes this contract extension makes it a lot harder for any other team to come and poach him. If a Duke came calling, if a North Carolina came calling, if a Kansas came calling, it would be a lot harder for them to actually poach him away from this deal now. So it gives Illinois a lot more reassurance that he's going to be here for the long term. My first question when I saw this was like at what point? Actually, I'll start with my other question because it's more relevant to the structure of the contract. This was it's stemming from a thought I had about Indiana football because obviously Kurt Signetti came in 2 years turnaround from one of the worst Division I football programs of all time to national champions in 2026. And I asked my Indiana friends this, and they didn't really have a very good answer for me. But I suggest, like, I hypothesized this. I said, so you've won a national championship now at Indiana. If Kurt Signetti went 0-14 for the next 10 seasons of football, I mean, you still have, I mean, like, at what point, like, how badly could Kurt Signetti do and still continue to keep his job? Because he won a national championship for an Indiana program that was essentially the bottom of all of Division One college football. Now, Brad Underwood didn't win a national championship for Illinois, but he brought them to the Final Four for the first time since 2005. So, like, how badly would Brad Underwood have to perform? And obviously, the recruiting shows all signs are like getting higher. We're competing for top 10 recruits now. We're competing for all Americans on a regular. So I'm not saying it's going to fall off the tracks, but at what point, like, it was my thought with Kurt Signetti, how badly could this Illinois team perform in consecutive years? And like, how long could Brad keep his job? Because like at this point, this is going to lead right into my second question. Like at this point, we're probably building a statue for Brad Underwood. He's going to be here potentially another 10 years unless something goes horribly wrong. Um, and that'll be the longest tenured coach in my lifetime at Illinois because Bruce Weber was only there from 2003, 2004 to about 2012. And then John Gross took over until about 2017. Lou Henson was there for a very long time, but I was not alive for that. So, like, we're getting into an era of like, he could be a Krzyzewski where he just coaches until he decides he doesn't want to anymore.
Or like an Izzo, where he's
Yeah,
just 90 years old, killing
yeah.
it.
I mean, Izzo, Bill Self will be at Kansas and he'll until he decides to retire. But like that's a very positive thing, I think, because I would prefer to have a coach that we just know is going to be one of the best in college basketball year after year after year. Honestly, as a kid, I remember growing up like the whole like coaching carousel about like who are we going to get this year? It was exhausting. It was like after the Bruce Weber firing, it was like we got John Gross on board and it was like, oh, great, we got this guy from Ohio. But anyways, your first thoughts when you saw the contract extension, and then also, I guess, how badly do you, this is just my hypothetical question, but how badly do you think Brad Underwood would have to do to lose his job in consecutive years?
I mean, he'd have to miss the tournament multiple times, like 3 years in a row, probably. But
Yeah.
I just, with their level of recruiting, because that's the thing, it comes down to recruiting. I mean, when you get to that Final Four level, then good players start to come to your program. And when good players start to come to your program, even if you're 80 years old, you're still going to be able to make the tournament. I mean, I think in Michigan State that one year when they barely made it in, they probably shouldn't have made it in, but they got the Izzo bump. So maybe you'll see Illinois start to get that kind of stuff. I mean, Brad's not that old yet. He's still got to, win those games, get to those spots, prove himself. I think a championship would be huge. It would solidify him as, probably the one of the top three coaches in the league and one of the best Illinois coaches of all time. Maybe, you could argue the best of all time if he wins a championship, especially if he wins a championship next year. When you're talking a Final Four and then go to a championship, that'd be great. But I mean, I he just got an extension like a year or two ago, which is the weird part that they extended him again. So who knows? Maybe next year they'll extend him till 2040. But I love it. I've been a Brad supporter since day one. A lot of people were Brad haters. Many people were Brad haters and wanted him fired. And there's probably stubborn people that still do want him fired. But I've always been a Brad supporter. Couldn't be happier. I mean, he's got personality. He's a fun guy. I mean, I couldn't imagine if like Dana Altman or just some like or like Mick Cronin. I guess he's got personality, but he's an asshole or somebody
Yeah,
like
like gremlin personality.
yeah, I mean just people who like even somebody like Dusty May, like he doesn't have much personality. He's a great coach, don't get me wrong, but Brad Underwood's hilarious. He makes me laugh. He's Brett Pizza Hut parking lot. He's the perfect coach. I have no complaints with Brad. I guess my only complaints, I mean, historically would be in-game coaching adjustments, but last year he did really well in that department. And so if he can just continue that, he'll be a top five coach in the league if he's not already. Because I seriously do think you could make a good argument that he's top five. When you talk about his record, his winning record, and what he's able to do with these teams. I mean, he's taking lineups. If he had these players that Duke is getting or that Kansas is getting, he would win a championship. He's going to Final Fours with European players that have never played in college and who aren't supposed to be very good. Merkovich wasn't supposed to be that good. Keaton Walker wasn't supposed to be that good. Z was supposed to have an off year. T was supposed to have another bad year. They were all supposed to be off, but they all did really well. And I think Brad's the reason for that. I mean, you look at Washington, that one kid from Washington just decided to stay in the draft. And I'd never heard of him. He averaged like 5 points. It's like, yeah, because he doesn't want to go back and play for Danny frickin' Sprinkle. He'd rather just go in the NBA, even if it means G League for a few years. Whereas Illinois players, like we were saying earlier, Tommy wanted to go to the league, Andre wanted to go to the league, and they're like, this team is so great, this coaching staff is so cool, I'm just going to come back. So it says a lot about
Well,
Illinois. It says a lot about Brad Underwood
I
specifically.
actually meant to ask you that earlier when we were talking about Andre, because he had that quote in his video where he said his heart led him back to Illinois. On a spectrum of like heart to money, like NIL money, where is his actual interest? Because I thought that was, I mean, I thought the video was cool and everything. For him to be like, yeah, it was my heart that led me back to Illinois. I was like, bro, you're getting like $2.5 million next year, probably. There is absolutely no way. I mean,
Well, I'm sure
there's
another
a
school
lot
would
of
have
it.
paid him.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Another school would have paid him. I mean, last year he almost went to North Carolina. I guarantee you North Carolina was probably offering more than us, but he wanted to go to a winning program. And his dad was probably like, you already went to two schools where you didn't do very good and you just, you were the guy, but it's like if you want to win games, go to the winning program.
Yeah,
And I
that's
think
fair.
and I don't think he needs the money because I think he's looking at himself like Dion was saying. He believes in himself. He thinks he's going to go to the league no matter what and make a whole bunch of money. And his parents have money. I don't think he's worried about money necessarily. I think Illinois is competitive in terms of NIL. I do think there's other schools that could have outbid us if they really wanted him. I also don't think I mean, he didn't seem like he ever really wanted to enter the transfer portal. It was pretty much NBA or come back.
Yeah.
And with everything that came to fruition, I mean, even still, even if it didn't get injured and had a decent combine, it's like, do you really want to go get drafted number 45 or 42? It's like, I don't, what's the difference, So I think he just decided he want to come back and try to win a championship. And the college experience is amazing. I mean, NBA, like, it seems like it kind of sucks. I'm going to be honest. They all seem kind of sad. They just show up. It's like a job. It's like literally they're clocking in for a job. They don't feel connected to their teammates, right? Teammates don't get upset when other teammates get traded, right? It's like, oh man, good luck. It just seems like a job. Whereas college basketball seems like there is a lot of camaraderie. They're actually friends. They actually hang out. They all love each other, and they truly want to win a championship. You don't see teams tanking or anything like that, which there's obviously no benefit to tank in college. Although they should tell DePaul that because I think they were historically trying to tank. But you see passion. You see players that really, really give it their all. And I think it's hard to pass that up if you only have, that's the thing, you only have 4 years. Well, I guess five technically now. But NBA, I mean, you could play in the NBA for 20 years, but you only have a limited amount of time that you can enjoy being a college basketball player. So I think you just want to take full advantage of it.
I was gonna say, I thought you meant you only have a limited time to enjoy being a college student, and I was gonna tell you that I am the definition of, or I am the antithesis of what you just said because I am absolutely enjoying still being a college student many years later than I should be. But
Yeah, you take one class a freaking semester
yeah,
and you're
I'm in
like,
two right now, so I'm passing both of them. It's going very well. We're in week 9. Week 10 is coming up, finals week next week. I ran into Jeremy Lorenz still on campus. I know I texted in the group chat and was like, "What's he still doing on our campus? Go back to Wofford, buddy." Anyways, um, in other Illinois news that we did miss in the last week and a half, besides Brad's contract extension, besides Andre returning, which was announced last night or yesterday evening, Illinois and well, we talked about DePaul's schedule last time in our last Demon Time episode, but Illinois has had some schedule announcements as well. Most notably, the Illinois versus Duke series, which will be a home and home that will start in Durham next season, November 17th at Cameron Indoor Stadium, which will be pretty cool. I think the last time, I'm not sure the last time Illinois played in Cameron Indoor, but I know for a fact the last time Illinois played Duke, they lost by 43 points in Madison Square Garden.
Well, did we
So,
play at Cameron Indoor the year we won, the
oh,
COVID
you're
year?
right. That was like the 2021 season because there were no fans in the stadium and they
And we
won.
walloped them.
Yeah, and I think Duke was ranked sixth, Illinois was ranked 10th at the time, but it was a very good Ayo Dosunmu performance, and I think Andre Curbelo had some good moments in that game as well. So they'll be back in Cameron Indoor, hopefully to take care of business and get a road win, a road kill, as Brad Underwood calls them. Um, but yeah, the last time they did play Duke, it was the worst loss in program history, I believe, when they lost by 43 in Madison Square Garden. And ultimately, they got it turned around at the end of the season. They won a tournament game. But that was a pretty embarrassing performance the last time we played Duke, and I believe we owe them a win. We owe them a loss.
We owe them a damn spanking, is what
Yeah,
we
we
owe
owe
them.
them a belt to ass. Um, but in addition to the Duke series, which will also have a game in Champaign in 2027, there's also now a Texas Tech game, which we knew about, but it will be in Texas Tech. We all knew about that as well. Also on the non-conference schedule is UConn at the United Center, Missouri, which honestly this year's game is not going to be like a fluke game. Missouri's pretty loaded in their recruiting cycle this season. They have two or three top 100 recruits, so they're not going to be any fluke to play. It'll be a tough game in St. Louis. And then I have heard some rumblings about a North Carolina game. I'm not sure how serious that was, but I mean, just listen to the non-conference schedule. If all of that actually transpires, or I guess if just the North Carolina game transpires, at Duke, at Texas Tech, UConn at a neutral site, Missouri at a neutral site, and then North Carolina potentially as well. That is a lot of that's a loaded non-conference schedule. And my question for you about the non-conference was, I suppose we could talk about the Duke game specifically, but my thought on the non-conference schedule is are we too loaded at this point? Like, has Brad gone crazy? Like, where are we gonna? How many wins are we gonna have? We can't go into the Big Ten season being 11-7 or like 11-6 or whatever. That would suck. So my first question for you is at this point. I think DePaul just scheduled like a series against Maryland Eastern Shores. Should we get a few of
No,
those
they
games?
St. Louis, the
Well, I
Billikens.
saw the St. Louis one, but I'm pretty sure I saw Maryland Eastern Shores as well. And
Home and home with Maryland Eastern Shore.
I tweeted from the Chillinois
He
account. I
must
said
have been
these are the
watching.
games Noah's been dying for.
Holtman
Uh,
must have watched the episode. He's like, he's got
and
a
he's like,
point.
shit, Noah was right. We need some scrubs on the schedule. But no, at what point are we talking? I'm sure Illinois will play like a Long Island University again, and I'm sure they'll have a UT Rio Grande Valley again. But this is a very daunting non-conference schedule that we're going to have ahead of us. And I wouldn't be shocked if Illinois decides to play in one of those preseason or not preseason tournaments, but like regular season tournaments. Like I know the what was the big one they had last year? It wasn't like it was. I think it was by Nike.
Oh, well, they have the players, whatever the
Yeah, the
hell it's
Players
called.
Invitational. You're right. No, that one
Yeah.
expanded to like 18 or 24 teams this season. I know Illinois isn't in it, but you got DePaul and the Fort Myers tip-off. Maybe Illinois goes to Maui for a
Yeah,
few
speaking
games.
of, all the Purdue fans were in their comments like, "Oh, we got to play DePaul." It's like, I hope to God we kick their ass.
That would be
God,
pretty
I
cool.
hate Purdue
That would be a,
fans.
a big win for the Illini or for the DePaul Blue
That'd be a
Beavers.
big win for the Illini too. Could you
That
imagine?
that is certainly true.
That could be the
Um,
deciding factor. We can't let Purdue in the tournament. They lost to DePaul.
but nonetheless, how scared of you of this? How scared are you of this non-conference schedule at this point? Because it's pretty daunting.
I'll tell you what, I wasn't very scared until DGL went on Instagram and called out Brad Underwood. And now I'm kind of scared. DGL is talking shit. And I don't know if it's any of it's true. It doesn't seem like it is. He said that Brad said all this stuff like, "Oh, you're not good enough, this and that." And that just doesn't seem like something Brad would say. I think DGL's in his feels, but he will be playing for Texas Tech, and we will be playing at Texas Tech in Lubbock. So that's going to be a hell of a game. Duke's always a good team. They're always going to be a top five team. So that's going to be a really, really tough game to play. And that one probably I'm going to chalk up as an L. Texas Tech, we could very well win that one. Now, I don't know who else is going to play besides DGL. We know Christian Anderson, he's out. I don't know about Toppin if he's coming back. We were trying to figure that out before the episode.
Well, I was reading the AI summary and it said JT Toppin might redshirt for this season and play in 2027, 2028. And I was like, what? Like he's gonna be a dinosaur at that point. We're talking Perry Ellis type career. So but no,
Yeah.
you wanted to talk about DGL's little rant if you want to go on
Yeah,
about
it's just
that.
it was funny to me, and it's like, bro, come on, man. It's like Illinois fans love you. We're always in your comment section praising you, shouting you out, and he just has it's like sour grapes. It's like, dude, get over it. You went to UNLV, you had a great year. You're going to Texas Tech, freaking Power Five program. They're a great school, potential Elite Eight, Final Four team, and you're still whining. It's like I think part of it is because he maybe regrets leaving Illinois and he knows how supportive the fan base is and the success we had
Well,
last year. And
based on his story though, I don't like I think you're partially correct in like he wishes maybe he could still play at Illinois, but it sounds to me like Brad kind of like was like, "Hey, buddy, you're not gonna be playing very much here."
well, he
Which I
probably
mean,
told
that's
him
a
the truth.
mutual agreement to be like, "Hey, I'm not gonna play very much. I'd rather go somewhere I play more." And I think he was talented enough to get the role he had at UNLV and score what, like 20 points a game. And now at Texas Tech, we're gonna see if he can step it up on a Power Five conference team. But I don't think like he regrets leaving Illinois because I'm not sure it was necessarily his decision.
Yeah, that's a good point. But in the sense that if he was good enough to start, I think he would have loved to stay here.
I unfortunately think he was too short to play for Brad Underwood. Like Quentin
Yeah,
Coleman's about his.
he wasn't. That's the thing. He wasn't all that good. He was like
No, he
Brandon
was good. He
Lee.
was he was talented, dude. If you watch some of his tape, like I think on the Illinois team 2 seasons ago with KJ and Will Riley, even with both of them on that roster, he was maybe behind Will Riley, the second most capable player of creating his own shot, just off of like the dribble. That was just my opinion. But I think he was just, I mean, he was like 6'1", 6'2". And unfortunately, when you play for Brad Underwood, if you're not a guard at least 6'4" and you're not named Kylan Boswell, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of playing time. Ask Blake Fagbemi about that. Ask AJ Red about that. Who else have we had as short guards in the past? Ask Jaden Epps about that. Ask Sincere Harris about that. Um,
Yeah,
anyway,
true.
it's going to be a loaded non-conference schedule next year. The Texas Tech game is certainly one I'll be looking forward to. That one worries me probably the most, just because we did beat them at home last season in a very close game. So it's going to be a very rowdy crowd in Lubbock, and they're going to. I mean, it's certainly going to influence that game, I'd imagine. But and then also it's the DGL revenge game potentially. So I wouldn't be shocked if he drops 45 on the Illini. They
Is
could
he gonna
Illinois.
start on this team next year? Or what's his
I mean,
projection?
given Christian Anderson is gone, I would imagine he's their starting point guard or their starting two. I don't know if he'll be as successful as Christian Anderson, but it's going to be. I think he'll probably drop 40 points on Illinois, just given that it's the revenge game, and Illinois loves to give up points to guards that score 20 a game. So it'll be interesting to watch. The Duke game, certainly, I'm actually thinking about going out to Durham because my aunt lives over there in North Carolina. So I'm thinking about going to North Carolina and going to that game if I can get tickets. I don't know how available they are, but that would be a cool one to cover. And before we end this podcast, we do need to talk about the loss of Dorothy Izzo because she did pass away the other day, 3 days after her 100th birthday. And we have talked about Dorothy Izzo on this podcast before, so we need to show our respects right now. Noah, I know you said before you could probably give her a bucket. Do you still have that feeling now, or?
I mean, listen, I always gave her credit where credit's due. Okay, she could hoop. We know this. One on one, I can't remember how many points I gave her. Ultimately, I did determine that I would win the one on one. But hey, she could hold her own. That's why we're paying our respects. We love Dorothy. We love Tom Izzo. We're big Michigan State supporters. We have no beef with them. We have beef with Michigan. We have
We
beef
have
with
beef with
Purdue.
Jeremy Fears Jr., who unfortunately announced he's coming back, so that sucks. Maybe he'll
It's
kick
gonna
another
be
five players in the groin this season.
yes. But that's gonna make the Big Ten season interesting because he's an interesting guy. He's got very contentious. So it's gonna be he's gonna add some drama to the season, which is good because you're getting rid of Yaxel and you're getting rid of some of these guys that were real characters. So I think you need some of it, and who knows? I mean, I don't know how good Michigan State's supposed to be this year. I don't know if they're. I guess yeah, I think they're right now projected third, so they're solid. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they won the Big Ten. But I think this is Illinois' year to win the Big Ten. Not to get off topic, but we love Michigan State. We love Tom Izzo, so we gotta shout out anytime Dorothy Izzo's mentioned. Unfortunately, she did pass away. But she's 100 years old. So what the hell? I mean, she lived an amazing life. You can't really ask for much more than that. Live to 100. So all credit where credit's due. God bless you, Dorothy Izzo.
Yeah, shout out Dorothy Izzo before we wrap this one up. But a lot of news we just covered there. We will have more episodes coming out in the future as more news breaks. I think the schedule release, I think I saw it was like probably August for the non-conference to be finalized, and then September for the conference schedule to be finalized. We will have a video coming out pretty soon about some of the conference games though, because they did announce the home and aways and the home and homes, or just, sorry, just the home games and just the away games. So we'll talk about those and break those down a little bit as well. We'll also have more DePaul videos coming out as more news unravels as well. So stay on the lookout for more videos from the Chillinois Basketball Podcast. But Noah, glad we were able to get the last week and a half of coverage, and we'll try and do a better job of maybe doing more weekly episodes because I think we dropped the ball a little bit. But hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And then also, Andrej Stojakovic, I just want to say from the Chillinois Basketball Podcast, we do love you. Thank you for coming back. So, Andre, if you see this, good stuff. Noah,
If he sees this, that'd be amazing.
that'd be really cool. We'll have to get him on an episode sometime if he sees this.
We're gonna have some guests coming on this summer. We got to get a few people on here still, so expect some big special guests coming soon.
And we still have to get our asses to a Balkan restaurant. So
It's true. I've been getting ads for Balkan restaurants down
I
my
have
phone
too.
because
I
we
keep
keep
seeing them
talking
all
about
over
them.
TikTok. Like one's in Chicago, and I'm like, we got to get our asses there. Well, it's still warm out, and you can drive from Rockford to Chicago without 2 hours of traffic. So, anyways, big last week and a half of Illinois news, and hopefully more news coming up in the
Also, Quentin
future.
Coleman, U18 team. You want to
Oh,
mention that?
yeah, that is important as well. He is playing for the United States U18 team this summer, and I think we should probably just make a video on him specifically about his stats and how he performs this summer. But that's going to be certainly exciting for him to get to campus. And I'm excited to hear about all the freshmen, but especially Quentin Coleman and Ethan Brown. So, which was cool. Armchair just had Ethan Brown on their podcast the other day. I was really excited about that one.
They're killing it, man. They're killing it.
Shout out Armchair Illini. Alex Chi, you guys are doing a very good job. Keep up the good work. Noah, ILL.
I and I.